All right, welcome everyone to the April 20th meeting of the Police and Fire Commission. We'll run through our agenda today. Item number 1 is a call to order. Item number 2 is a celebration of sorts and also a passing of some of our members on to bigger and better things. And what I'll do is just invite Mayor Richardson up to start us off.
All right, thank you very much for having me. And it's the time of year where a lot of people are up for reappointments, and sometimes people decide they want to go on to bigger and better things, which is all right. And sometimes life happens, and so that's why he decided to move on. But I wanted to come and thank you for the time to thank both Jeff and Rosa for their time and efforts on the PFC. I think you've hired 2 chiefs on your time. Were you for 2 as well? You just missed it. Okay. And, we had gone through a long period of time where we didn't hire many chiefs, so be able to hire 2, obviously a huge impact on the city, and hired a couple of really good ones, one of who I had to steal and promote. So I appreciate all that. Again, Rosa, you're still in the city, so we can still tap into you for other things when we need you, and you're not far away, Jeff, so if something comes up and we need it, we'll certainly call on you as well. But I just wanted to really appreciate, say that how much we appreciate you and all of you done for the city, and thank you for that. I do have a certificate of appreciation for both of you as well, and just a small token of appreciation for everything that you've done for us. We really appreciate it and everything you've done. Thank you very much. Jeff, here you go as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you as well. I don't know if Sarah, you want to say anything additional at all, but I can turn over to you if you do.
Sure. I just want to say it's been a privilege to work with both of you. You've been an honor to work with. You're very smart. We've done a ton of things in our time here together. Like I said before, the PFC rules and regulations update, police chief recruitment, very involved, and a number of, you think of all the recruitments that your hands have had that you've been part of. It's been an honor. So thank you for your time. Been nice to know you.
Yeah, I think both the police and the fire department are in a lot better spot now because of all that you've been able to contribute to us. So don't be a stranger, and thank you again.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Sarah. Any commissioners or chiefs? Any words?
I guess what I would like to say is the fact that you, as commissioners, are the unsung heroes. I mean, obviously, when we're out there doing the day-to-day, the emergency work, people see us quite visually. You are our community advocates as far as making sure that our fire departments or public safety in general is represented and represented fairly. I like to call you the conscientious objectors because you really do bring all sides of the story into what we need to present into our community. So with that, I think it's safe to say that we were served very well by Rosa and by Jeff, and obviously best wishes to you in the future, and hopefully we can find a set of commissioners that have performed as you have, with a great deal of professionalism and success. Thank you.
I just want to say on behalf of the police department, I wish both you and Jeff and Rosa nothing but the best. And in my short stint of actually working with the PFC on a regular basis, it was a pleasure. It was an honor. Thank you.
Well, just want to say thank you for your recognition. Thank you, Jeff. I enjoy working with you and everybody else. This was quite a journey for me. Like you said, I was involved in 2 police chief processes, and it was quite involved both times. But we got through, and we did what was right for the city. I learned a lot from other members of the commission, and it's kind of sad. I'm a little softy, so I feel like, oh my God, I'm leaving. But I know it's in good hands, and I know you will do what's right to continue to push for diversity in both the police department and the fire department, because we need that. And I will encourage the commission to be aware of all the trends that are now with regards to police. I will say fire, but the fire department are also seen as the good guys. But with police, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. We need to make sure that we are fair and that we treat every citizen with respect and dignity. So I encourage the commission to have that in mind when they continue their work. So thank you again.
Please.
All right. So first of all, thank you for all you guys do. So that's the reason why we're here, and you guys really do serve and both of your organizations serve the city of Fitchburg incredibly well. I mean, I've lived here for a long time, and I've really felt like both of those organizations have been wonderful and a real attribute to the city. And then from the commission standpoint, I just got to say that I really, really enjoyed being a part of the commission, the processes that we put in place. Please update the regulations on an annual basis, because I do think that they should be looked at least once a year. And I really like the formation of the commission, and I think it's natural that people leave and that people come, and that you have different kinds of constituents and different kinds of citizens come through to lend guidance, essentially, to the organizations that we support. And you have been awesome. We couldn't have gotten through the process without you, honestly. So it really, really, I really appreciated you and your guidance that you gave to us. And Mayor, thank you very much for everything you've done. You've been, you also have lent guidance to us as well. And Fact TV, I'm not going to forget you guys, because it really is a great thing that we put this out to the public and people can go and they can look up the history of what we've actually done here if they have questions, particularly in light of the last couple of years and a lot of the turmoil that has surrounded police in particular. They can go back and they can look at the decisions that we made, the conversations that we had, and make determinations and see if they want to be involved and know that this exists. And ultimately, civil engagement is what we're about. So, anyways, just thanks to everybody for the opportunity, and it's really been a pleasure.
All right, well, thank you to you both. I've said a couple times, I think this is a perfect example of kind of a democratic republic at work, a citizen-led government, and you both are pillars of how to serve as citizens in the government. So thank you very much to you both. It's been a pleasure working with you. All right. Let's move on to agenda item number 3, which is discussion related to the departure of 2 of our august members and chatting about the next steps for appointment of new members and then the designation of a president and vice president of the PFC as part of the regular officer exchange. So Sarah, do you maybe want to take us through and lead us there?
Sorry about that. I missed hitting my button. By ordinance, we need to appoint 2 new members to the commission in place of Rosa and Jeff between the last Monday in April and the first Monday in May. So that's why we're looking to have a special meeting of the commission on Wednesday, April 27th. At 5 p.m. So looking to see if we can do that. At the 26th council meeting, Mayor will be appointing 2 members. So we already know who those 2 members are going to be. They still have to be voted on or approved at the council. But then if they are approved, then that Wednesday we could take a vote then at the PFC. Nope, this is your last meeting, exactly, yep. And then for the election of president and vice president, you have until May 31st. So we could wait until the May Police and Fire Commission meeting to vote for a new president and vice president.
Any thoughts, comments?
Does Wednesday, April 27th at 5 work for everybody? It would be just 3, I guess, so you 3 to make a quorum.
I am on a flight.
Okay.
So I can't commit for sure.
Okay. What about the 28th? And you could zoom in. It would be, that would be the only agenda item. Yep. I'm gonna check with Fact TV. Is April 28th the option? It's not, okay. So it would have to be before the 1st, so we would have to do it sometime that last week in April. We could do it during the day. Oh, it would be a very short meeting. Yep, maybe 20 minutes or less. Could we all do it Zoom? Yeah, oh, absolutely, yep. Maybe I'll give you a chance to look at your calendars, and then why don't we connect sometime yet this week, and just let me know what time works best for you on the 27th, if that's a possibility.
We still have to make sure Fact TV is.
Yep, and you're good with any time on the 27th. The 28th is out though, right?
27th until 7 p.m.
Okay, got it.
And then on the 28th, is it possible to go earlier in the evening? So what time does the thing start on the 28th?
So we could do something at like 4 on the 28th? 3:30? Okay.
3:30 on the 28th should work for me.
Okay.
And I can make that work.
Okay. Brian?
Worked for me.
Oh, thank you. All right, wonderful. So I will get an invite out, and again, that's the 28th at 3:30. Okay,
Perfect.
perfect.
All right, and then for President and Vice President, I think it makes sense to wait until the May meeting when our new colleagues are with us. Does that
Absolutely.
sound good? Okay, anything else on agenda item number 3? Okay, moving on then to agenda item number 4, approval of minutes. Those were in the pre-read packet. Any questions or comments or motions related to our draft minutes from April 7th, 2022? Any motion? Okay. Rosa moves to approve. Any second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion to approve carries. Moving on to agenda item number 5, public appearances for non-agenda items. Don't see anyone in the room any longer. Okay. Moving to agenda item number 6 then, report from the police department. Deputy Chief Leahy.
All right, thank you. Moving down to the sworn staffing summary. Fairly consistent from previous months that we are shy of our staffing levels by 3, down to 51 sworn employees, 3 vacancies, 1 currently in field training. However, I should change that to restricted duty. That individual suffered an injury while on duty. 2 in the law enforcement academy, giving us 6 unfilled patrol positions. Does anybody have any questions on the staffing summary at this point? As you all know, we're going through a hiring process, so hopefully the vacancies will be remedied soon. All right. Going down to the order in report. Fairly consistent with last year, only 9 additional order-ins from March of 2021. This past March 2022, there's 16 order-ins, average of 2.2 hours each order-in. Patrol staffing was at 75% available as compared to last year's 88% available, so we had fewer officers available to fill the shifts either most likely voluntarily if there were any vacancies. And then there's the previous 6-month running tally of order-ins and number of unfilled positions. Does anybody have any questions on that?
No, I'd just say again, thank you for putting this together. That's helpful as we kind of move through the process and based on what we heard in all those discussions with the officers during the process and kind of mental health and wellness. So thank you for it.
Absolutely.
Any other questions related to the order in report? All right. Anything else from the police report?
Not for me, other than the items for closed session.
Okay. Then why don't we move into closed session? Any motions or anyone want to take us into closed session?
Pursuant to section 19.85, parent 1, parent C of the Wisconsin statutes, the commission will move into closed session for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, more specifically to discuss hiring recommendations for police officer, to remove probationary status of a police officer, and to notice the commission of a termination of one police officer and the retirement of another police officer.
Thank you, Rosa. Any second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? All right, motion passes, and we will go into closed session. Okay, thank you. Well, welcome back. We are out of closed session. Any discussion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve a conditional offer to one individual.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None? All right, that motion passes. Any other discussion coming out of closed session?
I'll make another motion to remove probationary status of a probationary police officer.
I second that motion.
Okay. Any discussion?
Do you want specifics on that officer's name for that?
No, it's fine.
We'll keep it as is. Okay.
Okay. All right, then all those in favor of removing the probationary status from one officer, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. All right, any other discussion coming out of closed session? Okay. All right, thank you, Deputy Chief Leahy, appreciate it. And then we're moving on to the authorization to start a new police officer recruitment.
We've got a timeline up here for you. So we are looking to post tomorrow already through June 5th. We want to give everyone over a month to, for us to get the word out and for them to apply. And then we would be looking at that HR redaction of the names on the application the week of June 6th, the application review process, panel interviews the week of June 20th, and then the preliminary background screening and chief interviews the week of the 27th, June 27th. We would be looking to come back to the PFC for recommendation for hire on July 20th and be extending the conditional offer on July 21st and targeting an August start for the police academy. This is a timeline that we've used in the past for officer recruitment, so we haven't changed anything here. The only thing that could change is if we have a really small amount of applicants, again, we might just invite them all to interview. So.
Could you scroll down to the first step?
Sure.
It's from the to June 5th. Okay.
Yep.
Never mind. Okay.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Any discussion or questions, comments?
Well, I'm just going to say I strongly recommend that you use those new ideas that you have in terms of getting the word out about what disqualifies someone or what we need people. And I think you mentioned some, going to some specific
Yep.
agencies.
Yep.
Do that, just to see if we can improve not only the pool, but the pool of minorities and other applicants.
Okay.
Okay, any other thoughts or comments? I will move to start a new police officer recruitment process along the lines that have been outlined for us. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you, Deputy Chief, and now we'll move to the report from the Fire Department. Chief?
Good evening, everyone. You have in front of you the revised copy of the activity report. We've been trying to address a couple of things with our report to include how we report out on overtime and mandates, and that's on the second page. The other activity, we had some format changes that we wanted to make sure that we addressed. So there have been some slight modifications to the first page, not in the way of the data, just in the way that it looks. And then the second page, it says the staffing report as of December 31st because that really hasn't changed. We're still working on bringing people on staff. So as you can see with the recruitment, right now, our POX, our paid on premises, paid on call firefighters, we had 2 firefighters that had out-of-state certifications, and we were trying to work with them in order to identify whether their certifications would reciprocate into the state of Wisconsin. One of which we know is not going to happen, so we're going to sponsor them through the state of Wisconsin process if they take advantage of it. The second one is still working with the state through the Technical College Board to make sure that we maybe take advantage of any type of challenge test that can be administered. There's a written test and a practical test that has to be administered in order for that candidate to be considered a state of Wisconsin firefighter. This is a problem that we have across the United States. The ability to find a certification that basically transcends state borders across the country is a problem. And when you start looking into things like lateral transfers and trying to attract people from out of state, it becomes an obstacle in some situations. It's definitely something that we have to work on as a fire service. Other things with recruitment, the career firefighter process is underway. We have recently reviewed the applications. We have recommended 20 firefighters or 20 candidates that are going to be going before our interview panel, and that'll be taking place next week, Thursday, Friday. We decided to do that over a 2-day period just because of the fact that 20 candidates is a lot to try to process for one panel. It'll be the same panel, but we're going to give them a break in between. We have a pretty well-selected panel. It's a panel of 3, and then the top candidates, the finalists, will be meeting with me independent of that panel.
Who was on that panel?
We have an assistant chief from Sun Prairie, one of our deputy chiefs, or our deputy chief, Chad Grossen, and then Susie Jones, who is a receptionist in the senior center.
She's a member of the Fitchburg Diversity and Inclusion Employee Resource Group, too.
Great.
She's an awesome resource for us, and she's jumped at these opportunities to serve the community. So it's hard for us not to take advantage of that.
Great. Oh, thank you.
And then we do have a couple of promotions that are sort of on hold right now based on some of the things that we're trying to address from an organizational standpoint. We do know that we need an additional command staff officer. We're trying to work with that as far as a budget amendment, and then to work with the lieutenant promotions that have previously been approved by this commission. It's a matter of making sure that we address the need for the company officer first line leadership role. But that is contingent on what we have available from a financial standpoint. The other thing that you're seeing is the overtime. It gives you an idea of how many hours we're working a month. We were happy to get this far with this information. Now we're trying to trend this out at least 3 years. So there's been some work that we've done on that area to include the mandates, which give you an idea. The mandates themselves, 9 in total up till this point this year, are a part of the picture. The other part of that picture is the number of hours that they're mandated in. Typically when we mandate in, it's for the shift, and that's a minimum of 10 hours when they come in. It could be upwards to 14 or 24. And a lot of times that's based on their specialty, whether they're an officer, a driver operator. Firefighters are a little bit easier to come by because every one of our employees has the ability to fill that capacity.
How do you fill the driver operator position? Is that time on the job? Is that tested?
No, time on the job has something to do with just based on their exposure to driving and their ability to run emergent. But they have to go through a driver operator program through the state of Wisconsin. All of our driver operators have their certifications as driver operators, and then they have to participate in a driver's, it's sort of like a driver's education program, but it's a training program specific to our vehicles.
But a firefighter has to show that interest. It's nothing that admin pushes down.
Well, we encourage it. When it comes to driving, I don't like to mandate driving on an emergent level. It introduces a great deal of risk from a fire department standpoint. We will do everything we can to train them to that level and give them the opportunity to practice at that level. But if this is a non-issue for our career folks because they have to be driver operators. From a paid on premises standpoint, there's no mandate that they have to be a driver operator.
Okay. Good.
We do have quite a few that are trained to that level, but it's not a mandate.
But our full-time career are.
Yes, and that's they know that when they apply for the job, that it's all part of their work. What you're not seeing on here is the hours that are not mandated and are not overtime because they come from salary folks like me. So
Should include those.
just this last pay period, I worked a total of 160 hours. That gives you an idea of why the command staff level employee is needed.
Are you sharing that with others?
We are,
Okay.
and believe me, the city has been trying to work on options. The speed of government is a thing, so we.
That's a 2-week pay period?
That's a 2-week pay period, about 80 hours a week, and that's just last pay period. The one before that, I only put in 150 hours.
Okay. Right.
So
you
I'm not
wanna
doing that
add
to pat
that-
myself on the back. It's
No,
actually, for me, it's a point of failure because it's something that we tried to communicate in advance. It's something that we could predict based on the fact that we know that certain employees are only able to fill those positions for a certain amount of time before they step down or retire out. And we had that information. Now it's a matter of identifying, okay, we can prove that the need is there now.
Right.
How do we take advantage of staffing appropriately? Addressing the organizational chart to be able to optimally to serve a community that's growing. And that is an issue. I mean, there is growing pains associated with a growing community, especially as we're trying to establish things like what our tax base looks like.
I would like to see that included in this chart. I think your well-being and any admin's well-being and how many hours they're putting on the job, we have to take into consideration just as much as the line personnel. So if you don't mind, if everybody's in agreement, I think
Yeah, absolutely.
that's
I'll
important.
provide a visual.
I mean, just add it as another, another line if you can, if you can track it.
might even provide a visual before the end of this meeting. I might be asleep. So just,
Yeah.
that's, all
Okay.
joking aside,
Right.
we absolutely see the value in addressing what staffing looks like. And I know that the city sees it too. It's a matter of acting on it at this point and communicating the need.
Yeah.
Chief,
Yes.
are there tools used in, let's say, in the fire industry that helped your comment about, the city's growing? I'm thinking like some type of simulation tool where you just plug data in and it makes all these recommendations about, staffing, but potential future staffing needs. Are you aware of any such tools?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. I think, first of all, one of the things that we try to do whenever we're talking about staffing is we try to identify what we can do from a third-party standpoint. Obviously, when I bring information to this commission or to the Common Council, I also bring with me a certain amount of bias as far as what I need and what my organization needs. When we evaluate that information from a non-biased third party, we can actually share exactly why that is important. And there are models out there. They vary depending on where they come from, whether it's from a municipal management side, from a labor side, from a organizational management side. So from the fire chiefs to the firefighters to the city administrators, there might be different numbers, and that's why that third party is essential. So it's something we need to look at, and it's absolutely something that the fire service is doing a pretty good job as far as reporting its national data. On the local side, we need to express the value as much as we see in law enforcement. The, what is it, MPSIS? What's your data? MPSIS, thank you. MPSIS is the shared data collection resource that the police department has, and where that's essential is you're comparing municipality to municipality, apples to apples, oranges to oranges, because the data is consistent. You compare our data right now from municipality to municipality, it's how the municipality is collecting that data. Right. So it might be a little bit different as far as how they record their responses and those types of things. Those are other points that I think that we can do a better job of as a profession. But that gives you some idea. The other things that I have in here are going to be addressed via the closed session. It should go pretty quickly. There's not a lot to provide, but we'll make sure that we share that information coming out of closed session.
Any questions about the staffing report?
No, I would just like that breakdown of the overtime hours. I see this for the driver operator and the firefighter. Those mandates, are those all, is that all paid on premise for the mandates?
No, actually, we don't mandate.
Don't mandate paid on premise. So these are all career,
Yep.
and these are the total hours for career. Okay.
And let me provide just a little bit of background. It sounds like I don't necessarily prioritize appropriately when I say we don't mandate our paid on premises, but there's a reason for that. Our career members, this is their full-time job, so they don't have to worry about going to another job that affects their livelihood. If I mandate a paid on premises employee, it might affect their primary income source.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to mandate paid on premise. We've got some premises. We've got a really good group of people who do pick up the slack, but when it comes to mandates, that's all career.
And then the overtime hours here, I'd just like to see a breakdown if these overtime hours are, I don't think none of these are salary positions, right?
No, none of these are salary. No, I believe actually these are all career as well. That doesn't
Okay.
even address the overtime
For the
from
chiefs.
paid on premises.
Oh,
The chiefs don't get overtime. So
the hours.
there's
I'd like to see
hours
the
we
hours.
work in addition to our 40-hour work week, yes.
Yeah. I think that's pertinent information that I'd like to see if it's, yeah, I know it takes time to get that tracking if you guys aren't already tracking it, but if we can just add that and see that, I think that'll be beneficial.
I think it'll be beneficial for everybody, yeah. That's why we're trying to get on top of that, and then it'll be part of the sheet. The sheet is the same one that we would provide to the Common Council, so it's
Great.
shared information across the board.
Wonderful, thank you.
Any other thoughts or comments about the staffing report from the fire department? All right, then let's move into closed session.
Last one, Rosa?
Compensation or performance evaluation of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, more specifically, to notice the commission of the resignation of a paid-on-call firefighter and the leave of absence of 2 paid-on-call firefighters.
I will second that.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? All right, motion passes. We are moving into closed session.
Going to be kind of a compressed window, and we've already been kind of going through some ideas within the police department of what we could identify as needs within the department. I'm assuming there's going to be certain stipulations on you cannot supplant currently budgeted items, and they're for specific types of training or software or equipment, and there's going to be certain rules based on the retention of pieces of equipment. So we're just kind of sitting around waiting for the actual rules and what we can actually spend that money on, so.
When I saw this, I just thought of the evidence room, because that came up during the hiring process of the chief. And I don't know.
Fingers crossed that the evidence room will be solved in a new facility within the next couple of years. That's my hopes and dreams within the police department. I know that's currently in the city's capital improvement plan for a new facility. So things are trending in that direction, and hopefully that'll move forward. There's a lot of other needs within our police department that we probably could earmark that $94,000 for.
It cannot be used for overtime? We don't know yet.
I think salaries could be one. I know as part of some like asset forfeiture programs and from the federal government in the past, you can use those types of funds for salaries. However, I don't know if the rules are going to apply the same in this particular fund.
Are you getting input from the line officers?
Yeah, we're asking basically our entire department of what they would like to see from new staffing software and upgraded staffing software to a internal or a more robust early warning system or a personnel records management system, IA Pro, something like that, equipment that officers would need, less lethal tools to use out on the field. There could be a whole variety of things. And I know one of the items that was identified originally in a press release that was for this Badger Build Back or plan or program that the governor has instituted was hiring bonuses as part of that $96,000 as well. So there's probably a whole slew of things.
What is this, what is it called? Badger, you said?
Badger, boy. I can't recall off the top of my head.
That's okay, you can just follow up with an email or
I believe it's called the Wisconsin Badger Bounce Back.
bounce back. Okay.
Well, I think whenever that was, when we had that discussion a couple months ago, we had a bunch of ideas from the commission about how that ARPA money might be spent. I think then there wasn't enough time for the commission to get word to the council or for amendments, but ton of ideas. So glad to see more free money coming our way, and hopefully it does some good. Any other thoughts or questions on agenda item number 8? All right. Agenda item number 9, any announcements?
Thanks again, Rosa.
Yes?
Thank you, Rosa.
Thank you.
My pleasure. I had a great time.
You will be missed.
Thank you. Well, I move to adjourn then.
There you go.
I will second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting adjourned.